Stugotz here. Did you know that every single episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is now on Spotify? Yes, the same app that has millions of songs now also has thousands of podcasts. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite shows and discover new ones. Just not too many. We get jealous very easily. To subscribe to our show, search for the Dan Le Batard Show, tap follow, and get every new episode delivered to you. Podcast on Spotify. They are streaming right now. And 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 now.
Sport Clips Haircuts and ESPN are teaming up for a Dad's Day getaway. An all-expenses-paid trip to ESPN and a day spent with Golick and Wingo on their show. Register for your chance to win at sportclips.com/ESPN. No purchase necessary. See rules at sportclips.com/ESPN. U.S. only. Age 18 and up and 6/15/18.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
What is this video that you guys are talking about with LeBron James? I haven't seen this video, and it feels like that's it. We are really going that quickly to 2-0, season's over. Let's go to body language right now. Don't even want to watch the rest of the season. Let's examine the body language of LeBron James to see if it means that he's leaving. We're going to do that because the Golden State Warriors are totally overwhelming, and Steph Curry is making shots that he shoots from half court while bent over, shooting them right out his butt.
Yes, we're going to do that. Listen, we love watching the body language of LeBron James. He's given us reasons to over the years, and so everyone is paying close attention.
I haven't seen the video. What is the video?
It is 4 minutes right after J.R. Smith had that blunder in Game 1, where he didn't realize that the game was tied. He thought that they were up a point and was trying to run out the clock. And LeBron realizes this, and he goes back to the bench, and he's sitting. Now, George Hill is clearly thinking about the free throw that he missed. J.R. Smith, I don't know what he's thinking about. And LeBron James doesn't say a single word to anybody.
J.R. Smith is thinking they've won.
Perhaps, yeah. But I think at this point, once he's arrived at the bench, he realizes, hey, we haven't won. You think he still thinks that he won?
Confused.
Right.
Why isn't everyone celebrating with me? We just won. Why is everyone yelling? Why is George Hill so upset?
Right. But LeBron, I mean, he is crying. He is sulking. He's not trying to lift up his teammates like a good leader would do. He's doing none of those things. He's doing everything that Michael Jordan would not do. Seriously, you got to go to you got George Hill. Listen, short memory. Put it behind you. We got a 5-minute overtime here on the road. And J.R. Smith, listen, bad mistake. I've made a few. I couldn't post up J.J. Barea. But you know what? Let's move on, and let's try to win it here in overtime. He did none of that.
It's funny that you should say that because, and I understand why you would ask for that, but certainly Mike is going to understand some of what I say right now. Very often, my body language will go straight to hell because we and this show have done something that was pretty stupid, like, for example, the pregame show. So when you work with J.R. Smith, sometimes it can be really frustrating when they tell you during the pregame show, hey, Stugotz, Dan's microphone isn't on. Don't talk to him. And then you start the pregame show and your first sentence, I'd like to replay that. Can we get that back so that people can hear how awkward it is? They told you right before we started, as I'm sure Ty Lue told J.R. Smith that the score was tied. Mm-hmm. And still, J.R. Smith's gonna J.R. Smith. And Stugotz is gonna Stugotz.
Yeah.
And did you see the J.R. Smith quotes? After the game, totally confused, changing his story. And then at the end, this is what he says. It's hard playing with LeBron. Not everyone can handle it, but, it's a great pleasure. But he gets the pleasure of playing with me, too. And that's Stugotz. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is Stugotz J.R. Smith? Get the sound, Mike, of that pregame show so that people can hear. You told him right before his microphone went on live television, the national audience has always wanted, Don't talk to Dan. His microphone doesn't work. I assume that you guys fixed it in the 2 seconds between you told him. How do I hear what your instructions are and you don't? Like how? And then for the audience.
I was with you. I thought they were fixed. I thought you gave me a look suggesting that they were all fixed, and so I threw it to you. I mean, I'm with you
Mike,
on this.
How about this? This is better than you can even imagine, and this is why I work with J.R. Smith. Not only did Stugotz not hear you, Stugotz took the pregame show, and the first sentence was, Dan, do this for me. And then what we were talking about, you couldn't hear me talking because my mic wasn't on, as you said, was me saying to him, no, you do it. You do your 1 minute show. And he's like, I prefer if you did it for me. Yeah. And that's J.R. Smith and LeBron. Mm-hmm. And sometimes J.R. will make you 3-pointers and you'll win the championship and Cleveland will be happy and Stugotz won't take his shirt. and put it on for three months.
I was being gracious, man. I was welcoming you to the pregame show. It's the Stugotz pregame show. You're never a guest on it. I'd like I'd like to have you as a guest more often, but I was just letting everyone know who you are. It's like a totally separate show.
You welcomed me as a guest after they told you to not welcome me as a guest.
That's fair. But again, I thought it was fixed. I'm with you on this. Like, I thought, in the time between them telling me and we went on the air, I thought everything was fixed. All good. Listen, you're not being a good leader right now either. I mean, you're kind of like LeBron James. Seriously, I have a couple of bad segments. Maybe I mess up a bit and you get really mad. The body language, I could feel it. I don't even talk to you. I can't even look at you.
I said all of that
and that's
already.
what J.R. Smith and George Hill were doing to LeBron. But when you have a bad day, a bad moment, bad segment, I come over, I rub your back. I try to lift you up. I say, Danny, short memory. Let's move on. Next segment. We got 2 hours to go. That's what real leadership looks like, Dan. Just so you know, moving forward here. When I have a bad segment, just come over, rub the shoulders, say, Stugotz, hey, listen, short memory, got 2.5 hours to go. Forget about it. Let's go. Get him in overtime.
I love how you said that we were so bored with Game 2 that we're just advancing the storyline, when what's really happening here is we're not done with Game 1 just yet.
I don't think I'll ever be done with Game 1.
I don't want to be. Game 2 wasn't good enough for us to be done with Game 1. Guillermo, did you ever get that sound I told you of? What was the name of the player? Was it Michael Ruffin, the guy who forgot the score? Did we ever find any good announcing sound? This happened. I remember. Do you remember this? Mo Pete caught a basketball that was thrown up in the air. How long ago was this?
It was in 2006, I believe. We're still waiting for clearance on that.
Okay, but let's explain to people. I don't know how good is the audio on the announcers being confused by Michael Ruffin's mistake, which was in a regular season game that nobody cared about, involving Mo Pete and the Toronto Raptors. Wasn't the stakes of the finals. The J.R. Smith mistake is the biggest we've ever seen in the history of the sport. But this one is the closest thing that I could think of to a guy during a professional basketball game in America just simply forgetting something like time, throwing the ball up in the air, thinking the clock would expire before it came down, and Mo Pete caught it and made a three in his face.
Yeah, it was Wizards Raptors, and he tossed the ball up in the air, but he only tossed it like 5 feet in the air.
Right.
And Mo Pete just waited under it, caught it, and just launched it up, tie game, overtime.
That is great.
Right. I want to revisit the announcers trying to describe that, because it's the only thing I think I've ever seen in basketball that was, and J.R. Smith's was so much worse. Yep. Like, not just the stakes, which were obviously so much worse than Toronto and Toronto and the Timberwolves.
The title to the video is Michael Ruffin Blows It.
Well, go ahead and describe to people. Are there any details missing now that you have the video in front of you from this video 13 years ago that would explain to people how funny this video is? Because I don't want to let go of Game 1 either.
So the Wizards just took the lead. And
on a free throw, right?
On a free throw, yeah. Yep. So then the Raptors have to inbound it. They don't have any timeouts. They're on the other side of the court. So it's
what's the score?
Right now it's 109-106. So it's a 3-point game. And there's no timeouts.
This is the game we're breaking down?
Yeah.
Arenas hits the free throw, right? It's Arenas, Agent Zero, yeah.
So the Raptors get the ball, and they just launch it down the court because there's no time left. They don't have any timeouts. And it's essentially intercepted by Michael Ruffin. And he just gets it, and he tosses it about 2 feet in the air. And then Mo Pete just waits for it. He's watching it. He's like the only one that's still kind of paying attention to what's going on. He waits for it. He catches it with like a second left. Launches it.
That's actually pretty remarkable reflexes. Like, some people could have bailed out J.R. Smith and Ty Lue by calling the timeout. But how the hell do you expect people in 4 seconds to realize why J.R. Smith is running the wrong way?
The announcers were kind of, they thought that.
Oh, Stugotz just saw it? You just saw it?
Was Mo Pete a lefty?
I don't know.
He shot the thing lefty.
I know. It was an awkward shot. I can't believe it went in.
And he barely got it off in time. There was like 0.2 left on the shot clock. So they had to check it. So that's what was going on. They thought it was impossible that he made it with time still left in the game. Not that this boneheaded play happened, but it was ridiculous.
All right, so we'll see if we can get that sound for you. So, Mike, you're objecting to the fact that Guillermo, put it on the poll. Are you bothered that the show today started during the finals, breaking down a Toronto-Minnesota game from 2006?
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, Stugotz. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville. Searching for my lost shaker of sand.
Stugotz.
Some people claim that there's a green person to blame.
Really?
But I know.
I'm not
Margaritaville, baby.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Stugotz is fixated, as a lot of people are, with the body language of LeBron James at the end of Game 1. I have not seen this video he speaks of. I can imagine how Stugotz would want better leadership from everybody whenever they fail. That is a particularly hard spot for anyone to lead in when your teammate, after that game that LeBron had,
right,
and all you needed was your teammate to get the ball back to you.
Sure.
It's all you needed. He had the ball. He doesn't know the score. And I can understand why LeBron James, in that moment, as he heads into overtime against rested, because this team's going to wear him out the rest of this series. He's best in Game 1. He's older. Game 1, he's got 3 or 4 or 5 days rest. You see 51, 8, and 8. What did he look like last night? He looked lethargic.
He did.
By his standards.
Yep.
He looked like he was tired. That's a lot of miles, man, to be that close and to have your teammate play defense against you and the refs play defense against you when you took a charge. And then you're headed to overtime, and you got nothing left because you played the whole second half.
Right.
I can understand how that dude withdraws. You're right that it would be better for him to lead, and you're right to say 51, 8, and 8, lead more. But, man, I get it. I get why he would withdraw in that spot because he's just exhausted. He feels like he's carrying all these bums, and all he needs is one of these damn bums to remember the score.
Right. It's the reaction of a man who's saying, hey, I did enough for us to win this game tonight and for us to stay in this series. Like, this could be a 6 or 7 game series. Maybe we win the series, and then that's all taken away by his own teammate. I get it.
Not just one teammate. And George Hill make a free throw.
Yep.
Like, I understand why in that moment he would withdraw. And he'd have 4 bad minutes, and you'd lose him. And he didn't do anything in overtime because he was exhausted.
But if you're tired, Dan, like if I told LeBron before the game, hey, you're going to get overtime here in Game 1, 5 minutes, okay? Go win the game. Right? If you're tired, you try to pick those guys up.
Stugotz, you're right.
You're going to need those.
To recognize the fact that this, and by the way, I didn't even bring this up. Why are the Cavs sorry? Could it be because the greatest player in the world didn't massage the relationship he needed to massage by making sure he kept Kyrie Irving there so he could have somebody to run?
Another example of bad leadership. He ran off Hawk.
Floor's yours.
Number one. George Hill is a perfectly good
name.
guy to have on the line at the end of the game. I got no.
They're chanting his name. Like, how much more would you want him to lead? He could be a better leader, but this part is fascinating to me, Stugotz. It is fascinating to me. The way to be a better leader, is it Michael and Kobe? I got it. Get out of the way. Everybody. I got it. Or is it to share the platform the way he always has, bringing 3 championships?
I mean, I guess it could be both. It depends, right? Like game to game, team to team.
It depends on whether he wins or loses. That's when you'll criticize him.
Right.
Like, that's when it depends. He's a great leader when, he's doing work in Akron. But if you lose.
I think he's arrived at a point where losing, I mean, no one blames him for the losing.
You were just blaming him for not being a better leader.
I'm blaming him for, well, that's not losing. I'm not blaming him for the loss.
No, but you're blaming him for, you're doing worse. You're assassinating his moral character for having human emotion. For feeling down because he went 51, 8, and 8, and George Hill couldn't make a free throw, and J.R. Smith couldn't remember the score.
I think Michael Jordan goes to the bench in that spot. He lifts those guys.
That's right. Yeah, he lifts the actual bench.
And then he still goes out and wins it in overtime.
No, he lifts the actual bench, and he scores with that.
Yeah.
He does benefit from this narrative. LeBron does, though.
He really does.
Because this is the only time in an NBA Finals loss where you're not going to pay attention to all his failures in the NBA. Well, how could he? Look at this. It's what happened when he lost the first time to the Warriors. How could he with Dellavedova? Poor guy. So this narrative is actually very good for him. So if he just adds fuel to that fire, it's actually quite beneficial for him.
But you guys do understand that that's not conscious. He's not sitting there saying, I'm gone. He's just really frustrated and hurt because he did the best that he could, and J.R. Smith's computer went off.
Stugotz, man, you are.
Yeah, it's a fun.
You are.
Oh, I don't have any money on me today, so that's a problem.
You haven't checked yet.
Yep. I'm foreshadowing. I don't think I have, let me check here. Nope, no money. Oh, I do have $1 here. I do.
All right, now you owe $3.
Oh, I found it, man. It was tucked away in a little, business card in between. I owe $1, $2, $3. What do I owe here?
You owe 2 more.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, that's not true. You could keep those 2. You did find it. You originally lied, but then you found it yourself before anyone called you on it. It's $1.
Right. Thank you, Dan. Very nice of you. Good leadership.
That's right. Remember the score next time. Mm-hmm. Please remember the score.
I'll try. I can't guarantty it, man. Just know your teammates. I'm just saying, don't get frustrated.
I know, but know your teammates when they go 51-8-8 and they get a little frustrated because you can't remember the score. The leader's a human too.
Careful with tone. Just warning you.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was nice. It was a warning. I could have just fined you. I did not. I warned you first.
You're so kind.
I remember the score.
Yes, you're such a generous and kind teammate. Guillermo, how are we getting Lewis Brinson into the Major League All-Star game?
Oh, so glad you asked. So we have a strained relationship with the Marlins for whatever reason. I don't want to say name names, point fingers, whatever the reason is. We don't have the best relationship with the Miami Marlins. And the All-Star game, is a great time. It was down here last year. So fun. Oh, yeah. And voting's just open for the All-Star game. So I was thinking, what better way to kind of reach out to the Jeter Marlins and say, you know what, let's try to work together if we can a little bit, then get Lewis Brinson into the All-Star game. Now, voting's open to the public. I think you can vote 5 times a day, and we just want to get behind this guy. Good story, local guy, kind of the face of the team a little bit.
So what does Lorenzo, what do the Washington guys have to do for us to put this on the screen and to get our community of loyalists to get Lewis Brinson in the All-Star game in the name of harmony, of peace, of keeping good spirits between ourselves and sports, and in order to the fan can have a voice here.
Yeah,
the fan can have a voice.
And we're national pastime. Sometimes baseball gets forgotten as a sport, and we here are giving them a national platform. Let's get this guy, local kid, into the All-Star game, face of the Marlins. They're already putting together some graphics that we can put up and telling people exactly how to go vote. It's going to be great. We're going to get them in, I think.
Is it possible, though, Guillermo, that you can give people some information as to how they do this? Is it possible that we, as a media outlet, I feel like I've asked you this 4 or 5 different ways. I'm beginning to get increasingly frustrated with you, George Hill. Like, is it possible to just give the people the information they need? They're armed. The Stugotz Army is ready to go get Lewis Brinson. The Stugotz Army is ready to go get Lewis Brinson
into the All-Star game.
In the All-Star game. Thank you. See, that's help. Thank you.
So go to MLB.com.
You were like Kevin Love last night. You're giving me a little bit of help.
Go to MLB.com, and you'll see a thing where you can vote for the game, and then just scroll down to the outfielders and click Lewis Brinson, and then you can click all your other favorites, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just make sure, vote Lewis Brinson. Don't bother looking at his stats. Doesn't matter. Just vote for Lewis Brinson. Get him into the All-Star game.
A vote for Lewis Brinson is a vote for loving sports.
Exactly.
Is there a hashtag way that we can do this? I know in the NBA there is.
There was a hashtag, but I can't find what they did with it. They seem to have removed that. It was something, it wasn't the best, to be honest with you. It should be hashtag Bryn Diesel, but they're not going with Bryn Diesel for whatever reason. It was like Sweet Lou or something like that.
He's batting 160.
No.
No, again, what are you doing? What are you doing? The stats don't matter. Now you care about stats? Now you care about stats.
Yeah. MLB.com, vote for Lewis Brinson.
I mean, if they're just wondering why he went without that hashtag, that's why. That's all I'm saying, man. Bad team and AO money.
His advanced sabermetrics are much better than 168, though.
This is about love and loving sports. This is not about numbers. Numbers don't matter. Stats are for losers. Like, this is about love. This is about harmony. Vote Lewis Brinson for the All-Star game. Washington, get it on the screen. However you can get it on the screen, scrolling across the screen on ESPN Ooze, where we are getting Lewis Brinson into the Major League Baseball All-Star game.
Don Le Batard.
Let's go.
I'm tired of this. The 3 of them bashing Pat Riley. I mean, LeBron James hadn't won a single thing until Pat Riley was running the organization that he played for.
Stugotz.
And then Pat Riley was running the organization that he played for. And what happened? 4 straight final appearances, 2 NBA championships, should have been a 3rd NBA championship, but LeBron was terrified to post up J.J. Barea in that first season.
Hey!
And what he did to Wade?
Do you not know how a Jack-in-the-Box works?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Get triple action protection from optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Here's your SportsCenter update. Game 2 NBA Finals. Warriors defeat the Cavaliers 122-103 to go up 2-0 in the series. Steph Curry hit an NBA Finals record 9 3-pointers. It was incredible. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight between the Golden Knights and Capitals. Washington has a 2-1 series lead. And finally, in an interview with Rolling Stone, Bobby Brown took major exception to Kanye West licensing the photo of Whitney Houston's drug-infested bathroom for Pusha T's Daytona album cover, saying, quote, "That's really disgusting that he would do that. That's in really bad taste. Something should happen to Kanye. He's already crazy. I knew that when I first met him. Now he's pushing the bar a little bit. He needs somebody to slap him or something. And I'm just the person to do it."
Guillermo put on the poll, is the lowest point of Kanye West's career Bobby bleeping Brown calling him crazy?
Guys, you know me. I like to be in the action. If you need tickets to the game or your favorite band, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Vivid Seats has options to fit your needs. Make sure you get to vividseats.com/ESPN today for an exclusive discount offer. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Speaking of Kanye West, we played sound for a long time. This is going way back in the Wayback File. Mike, get that sound of uncomfortable Austin Powers, Mike Myers, standing next to Kanye West during a telethon in what I believe to be the single funniest race-related moment in the middle of something tragic that I have ever seen. Kanye West getting in front of people. And the desperation is not funny. What happened in New Orleans is not funny. But this was funny. Kanye West standing next to Mike Myers and the awkwardness seeping into everybody as Kanye West, back before he became what he is now and, you know, contaminated by all the Kardashian crud and producing an album that everyone is laughing at right now. Play the sound. Again, let me preface this with everything that was happening around this was horrible. The flooding, what was happening in New Orleans was horrible. This was Kanye West, like LeBron, feeling really frustrated, like he couldn't win and that his people couldn't win. And he's standing next to, of all people, Austin Powers. He's standing next to Mike Myers, who does not know what to do with this moment. We were talking during the local hour about the fact that Drake doesn't know how to respond to Pusha T because Pusha T is hitting him in a place that's really sensitive. It's blackface. Good God. And so instead of coming back in his music, instead of coming back with a diss track, instead of coming back with creativity, he goes straight to PR. He goes straight to his notes on his iPhone. His, you know, and he just tries to clean up the mess, which is exactly how a rap star never handles these things. And it's how you stop being any kind of authentic when you feel the need to defend yourself against public relations in a way Pusha T probably doesn't, given that he doesn't care much how Bobby Brown thinks about what his album cover is.
So just to be clear, the first segment we broke down a Wizards-Raptors game from 2006.
Yeah.
And in the third segment of the show, we're breaking down Hurricane Katrina reaction.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Guillermo put on the poll, should the show not be after game 2 of the finals talking about George Bush not caring about black people? My glasses are fogging up again. I can barely see you guys. Mike, can we call Pat Sajak? Because Stugotz and everybody in the world has been ripping Pat Sajak, and I'd like to talk to him about how this is felt. We get into the Pat Sajak controversy after game 2 of the NBA Finals next.
Dame más gasolina.
Why does this keep happening to my glasses? This is the first time that I can barely see you guys. Like, I don't normally notice when there's fog on my glasses.
It's both sides now. It's usually just one side. I don't know.
We thought that normally it's because you wear a hat and that traps the heat, but now you're not wearing a hat, so it just might be your face.
It's just the heat off my face?
Yeah, you just give off so much moist heat off your face.
I'm an engine.
You're hot.
I think it's more, so it's like a humidor. Like it's humidity. It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Maybe, yeah.
In my face.
There's so much sweat coming off that forehead.
Yeah. It could be the carbs.
We have 3 fathers who work on this show. I know for a fact that what they want for Father's Day is plenty of alcohol. I know that. Because that having a kids thing is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Spirited Gifts. We've told you about them before. We have asked you to support the people who support us. What I'm telling you is that this show has not been easy to support. So, the only way it gets supported by people is if you support the people who support us. Stugotz, tell them how to support here.
Yep, it's a local Miami business, and Dan is right. Support the people that support this show, and Spirited Gifts is doing just that. I've used them before. I absolutely love them. Mike is holding up one of the glasses that they gave us. I mean, it's great. It's got the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz logo right there on the glass. It is. They gave me a bottle with my face on it. It is fantastic.
You know what I love about this?
What?
It's sandblasted into the glass.
Yes.
No cheap printing here.
Mike, you and I have sat with a lot of clients, right? A lot of advertisers. I can safely say that we were probably as impressed with this particular client than any client we ever sat with. So, I mean, listen, creative. They have a great product. It's something different. It's a gift of alcohol. And I've been using it to make up with some people that I've wronged in the past, which is just about everyone. Roy got some. Billy got some. But I think of all the people that I've heard are double-crossed over the years, I don't think I've done anything worse than what I did to Allison Turner. I fired you when I was your boss a long time ago. Because of this, we have a love-hate relationship. I love you, you hate me. I finally realized how wrong I was. And for that, I'm sending you a spirited gift. Allison, expect a spirited gift in the mail this week. Father's Day is coming up fast. Get your shopping done by visiting spiritedgifts.com to get Dad the gift he really wants and needs. It's the gift of alcohol. Visit spiritedgifts.com/Dan for our Father's Day offer, which includes free shipping and free gift wrapping with all purchases. Guys, you're going to love it. Order by June 8th and get free gift wrapping and free shipping only at spiritedgifts.com/Dan.
This is your bedroom. This is your bedroom with Blue Chew. Blue Chew uses the same active ingredients as in Viagra or Cialis, but now comes in chewable form. Chewable means better, cheaper, and works faster than pills. No in-person doctor visit, no waiting in line, no more awkwardness. 100% online at BlueChew.com, where your first order is free. Just pay $5 shipping. Use promo code DAN at BlueChew.com and restart the party.
Dan Le Batard.
I mean, my kids don't even like me anymore. That's the bad part. I mean, the one thing I had was my kids, was my twin girls, and they are mortified by me, by my mere existence.
Stugotz.
I mean, I went in that lake at camp over the weekend, took the shirt off, stuck the stomach out as far as I could, and cannonballed right into that lake. My girls asked me to leave afterwards.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So what's your issue with Sajak? Pat Sajak is a friend of the show. We love Pat Sajak. The Wheel of Fortune host is very kind. He is decent. He is very friendly.
I don't have an issue with Sajak as much as I have an issue with the Washington Capitals. Like Vegas, you know, they open up their series with a light show, you know, an ice skating wizard. They got Michael Buffer, and Washington's retaliation to that is a game show host. Like, I think Vegas, and those are the things I think of, light shows and all that kind of stuff, okay? I think Washington, I don't think Pat Sajak. He was put in a terrible position to announce the starting lineup.
A lot of people are making fun of Pat Sajak today for that very reason. Vegas goes ornate. Washington's up 2-1. Vegas is the best story in sports. Vegas goes very ornate, and a lot of people were mocking the all caps. They were mocking the Capitals because all they could counter with was Pat Sajak and, up 2-1. They can also counter with that. Up 2-1 is something they can counter with, but a lot of people says, give me more. Pat Sajak's not enough. Do better, Washington. And so I want to talk to Pat Sajak's wise on top of everything else. Pat Sajak has taught us that people today don't need to learn things. They just need to find them. Pat Sajak taught us about how to handle controversy. Tomorrow, somebody else, if you're in the middle of public scorn, tomorrow, somebody else, a grandmother, the cat will, get its tail caught in the rocking chair and the cat will land on her face and you'll be out of the news stream.
Seems like J.R. Smith's going to be waiting a while, though.
Yeah. We need somebody else to blunder more badly, but George Hill didn't have to wait very long. J.R. Smith bailed him out right away. Sometimes you stay in the news stream for a long time. Sometimes you don't. Game 2 wasn't good enough to keep J.R. away from our show. The forgetting of score is going to linger with us. Did we get the clearance on the sound from that Washington-Toronto game involving Mo Pete? We hope to have that for you before the end of the show. But the sound that we do have is from the Stugotz pregame show.
Oh, boy.
Every day when this television show goes on to ESPN Ooze, Stugotz starts with a minute left to his own devices. It's something he's craved all his life. It's something he's impossibly lazy about. Doesn't give it any thought, just sits in front of the microphone, even though this is a dream come true. Him talking on ESPN, stage to himself, mails it in every single time. So today, Mike Ryan said right before Stugotz went live on national television, right before, don't talk to Dan. His microphone is not potted up by Washington. I can't do anything about it. Washington cannot hear Dan.
Mm-hmm. He did say that, and I'm confirming right now that I heard it. So
okay, so that is what now listen to how the pregame show started. I'm telling you, it's the last thing Stugotz heard and the last thing Mike Ryan said, and Mike Ryan also works with J.R. Smith. It's the last thing he said before the microphones go on the Stugotz pregame show. Now go ahead and listen to how that goes, how quickly Stugotz goes from not listening to Mike to asking me to do his job for him.
Pre-game show. I get a minute or so every day to talk about some things I want to talk about. We have a special guest this morning. It is Dan Le Batard, everyone. Good morning, Dan. Good. I mean, feel free. Go for it. But I'd like you to do it. I mean, I do it every morning. I mean, I'd be totally fine if you do my job for me. But, okay, Serena Williams is out of the French Open. So that went well.
But this is what I love about Stugotz, because this is the magic of working with J.R. Smith. You saw what happened with J.R. Smith, and you saw J.R. Smith stumbling around in his explanation, lying, and then, you guys are right, I forgot the score, sorry, you caught me. Like, J.R. Smith is Stugotz, Stugotz is J.R. Smith. But now I want you to add the extra layer to it, which makes it really fun. Now imagine J.R. Smith criticizing LeBron James's body language in overtime, because that's my marriage, baby. That's the marriage I'm in. It's not just that he's J.R. Smith. It's right. J.R. Smith is never responsible for anything. J.R. Smith, it's never his fault for anything.
He should have done that. I mean, honestly, if he had any onions, I mean, it was a terrible job. Hey, LeBron, I made a mistake. Sorry, I'm not you. I mean, I make mistakes. Sorry. I mean, lift me up. You need me here. Final 5 minutes. Let's go.
All right. Stugotz is going to lift us up next segment. JR is going to take all the shots next segment. The Stugotz weekend observations are next. My microphone's not.
Stugotz here. Did you know that every single episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is now on Spotify? Yes, the same app that has millions of songs now also has thousands of podcasts. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite shows and discover new ones. Just not too many. We get jealous very easily. To subscribe to our show, search for the Dan Le Batard Show, tap follow, and get every new episode delivered to you. Podcast on Spotify. They are streaming right now. And 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 now.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Dan Le Batard.
Stugotz lies so much, and he doesn't take inventory of his lies, that even when he's telling the truth, we don't believe him on anything. What's wrong, Stugotz? What are you objecting to?
I mean, listen, I've done this to myself, so I'm frustrated at myself. I'm not going to lash out elsewhere because I understand why everyone would think that I was the one who did this. But I am sitting here telling you guys that I did not do it.
Stugotz.
You absolutely took a bite out of a piece of pizza and put it back with the rest of the pizza.
It was me.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We get to Stugotz's weekend observations in a second, but not just Al Roker today. Allison, Stugotz had a couple of good ideas during the break. Pat Sajak is someone we're going to get. Let's go after Michael Ruffin. I want to examine how he feels. Yeah, I feel like 12 years later he might be able to talk about it. In 2006, he threw a basketball up in the air thinking that it would make the clock expire for the game up 3, and it came down and Mo Pete hit a jumper in his face. So I want to talk to him about that. Let's see if we can find him. If not by the end of the show today, by the end of the week.
I mean, it's topical, right? He can relate to what J.R. Smith did, kind of, right?
Not really, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway.
Good.
We have one clip of the 3 that's been cleared so far. This is from 590 The Fan.
3-point difference. Parker way up court. Knocked away. Michael Ruffin has it. Throws it up in the air. Mo Pete has it. Launches a 3. Gone! Peterson got it! He got it at the buzzer! Unbelievable! 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 Did it beat the clock?
It did.
It did, yes, forever. And we want to examine it with Michael Ruffin at some point. He threw the ball up in the air thinking the game would expire while the ball was up in the air, and it did not. Again, Mo Pete
didn't get it high enough.
That's correct. Mo Pete had a jumper in his face. Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Vivid Seats. When's the last time you were at the game or concert? Go to vividseats.com/ESPN today for your exclusive discount offer. Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Dan, the NBA Finals still haven't begun. Sean Livingston has the greatest mid-range game in the history of the NBA. Steph Curry is a circus act. Congratulations to Kevin Durant, 2 wins away from becoming the first guy since Hakeem Olajuwon to not win back-to-back championships in my personal record book. Are we really giving Steve Kerr credit for making a defensive adjustment that gets the ball out of LeBron's hands and forces his teammates to beat you? That's real next level stuff. It just dawned on me. Basketball for our show will never get better or more interesting than it did with 4 seconds to go in Game 1. J.R. Smith ruined basketball. So is Kevin Durant. It took 4 trips to the finals, but congratulations to Steph Curry for finally having a finals appearance worthy of a 2-time MVP. Steph Curry saying, breaking the single game record for threes in an NBA Finals game is pretty cool, is so Steph. Got an email over the weekend promoting healthy ice cream. What's next? Healthy hot dogs? The only good ice cream is ice cream that makes you pay for it the next day.
Put that on the poll, Guillermo. Is the only good ice cream.
Hey, it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
I've yet to see a 2020 promo that wasn't promoting an explosive 2020 special. Every week, explosions. 183 and 190. Why are we still interviewing Jason Kidd for NBA coaching jobs? Dry Fit Technology, amazing. Mariners, plus 17. Astros, plus 122. Same record. Baseball. Michael Crabtree said he doesn't have a choice but to lead the Ravens wide receivers. Couple of things here. 1, Michael, you do have a choice. 2, name another Raven wide receiver. I dare you.
Yeah.
3, Michael Crabtree is a Raven?
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Can you name a Raven wide receiver?
Did you know Crabtree was a Raven?
I did not.
It's amazing. Gronk confirmed he'll stop having sex to attend Pat's minicamp. Johnny Manziel, gunslinger. I'm telling you, a Tiger win is coming, and it might be in 2 weeks at the U.S. Open. It also might not be. If anyone cares, there seems to be pretty good evidence that Peyton Manning took steroids. Calvin John, what happened there?
There does seem to be that.
Buried in all this J.R. Smith stuff, there's a big story sitting out there, media.
That's it, but now you know how to get away with steroids. Just admit it to Al Jazeera after you've stopped playing. We won't pay any attention.
J.R. Smith should start walking around with that story to media members, saying, hey, pay attention to this thing over here.
He should. That should be his answer to all the questions in press conferences. Do you guys see this Peyton Manning story?
Calvin Johnson said he's never coming back because he can't bend his ankles. Jesus, the sport is unhealthy. 95 days until the start of the NFL season. How do you get through your daughter's 8th grade graduation party that's being held at your house? By being a belligerent drunk. Oh, that's what I was.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I was threatening people. Yeah.
Threatening people.
These kids, they're going to the high school. They're all hanging out in my backyard. Then the lights go, it gets dark, and I don't know where anyone is. And I was just walking around, and I was yelling at all the boys, every one of them, with a big G&T in my hand. That's gin and tonic. I started at like 2. Anyway, LeBron said Game 1 was the worst loss of his career. How could that be? He lost a finals game because he couldn't post up J.J. Barea. LeBron, in that game, you basically were J.R. Smith. Oh, what a shock. The Mets are in a complete freefall. Jacob deGrom might not win 10 games and might win the Cy Young Award. The DeGrominator. Pat Sajak rambling for 2 minutes before Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Electric. You know what D.D. Gregorius has done? Fallen back down to earth. Bryce Harper batting .233. Overrated. Funniest thing from the sports weekend? Urban Meyer giving a speech to high school players and telling them that what he looks for is how you play in big-time rivalry games while knowing that in attendance was Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh. Novak Djokovic in the quarters at the French. Good to see the Joker playing well again. Although Carlos Santana was great, I prefer words with my national anthem. Washington Capitals, 2 wins away from being champions. 3 losses away from being the Crapitals. Darryl Waltrip saying he wants less rules in NASCAR, then saying he wants a unique rules package, all within one interview. Darryl, the Stugotz, is strong in you. After being swept by the Giants, Jake Arrieta was furious with the Phillies, saying they don't shift enough, while never once complaining about the Cubs' lack of shifting, even though the Cubs have been ranked dead last in shifts. Jake, the Stugotz, is strong in you. Aaron Boone blaming ESPN for the Yankees' tough travel schedule. Aaron, the Stugotz, is strong in you. Steve Schwartz, the Bronx principal, accused of playing the ponies and tweeting about his bets during the school day. Principal Schwartz, the Stugotz, is strong in you. Jeez. Guy who is not a cop, who gives you a judgmental stare for going the wrong way in a parking lot. Go bleep yourself. And when you're done doing that, go to hell. And when you're done getting there, do me a favor. Make sure you say hello to Art Briles for me. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Do you prefer words with your national anthem?
Oh, yeah.
Ka-ching.
I want to hear it.
Time for some ads.
I mean, the one time or the times you wouldn't do that is when someone is so fluent in an instrument that you just want to hear. I didn't want to hear him sing.
Listen, I said he was great. I said he did a good job. I just prefer words,
Understood.
That's me.
That's why it's on the poll. It might not just be you.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Metal nets have to be right up there with like ice skates as the most dangerous things that people do to play sports, right? Because you know that the people that are buying those metal nets are largely kids. And if they have a hoop that they lower, it's like at 7 feet tall, and they're just dunking on them. And you know the fingers are getting stuck in those nets.
Stugotz.
In track and field, the gun they shoot off, that's kind of dangerous, no?
It's not an actual gun.
I don't think it's
a starter pistol. It doesn't shoot anything out.
I know it doesn't actually shoot a bullet. Nothing comes out of it?
No.
Just the sound.
Yeah.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We got a lot of stuff to get to. Funniest thing from the sports weekend, Al Roker, as Stugotz just mentioned. We're endeavoring to find Pat Sajak to find out what kind of condition he's in, if he's hurt by the controversy he caused this weekend by not being a good enough celebrity and embarrassing all of Washington because his celebrity isn't strong enough because he's the third most famous thing on his own show behind Van and the Wheel. So we will make fun of him about that if we can find him. We will also find Michael Ruffin. 12 years ago, he threw a basketball up in the air, and then Mo Pete caught it and made a jumper in his face. We want to talk to him about that. We're hoping after 12 years he's healed.
There's no way a day doesn't go by in which Ruffin doesn't think about that thing, though. There's no way.
Well, we have to talk to him about it. We're endeavoring to get him. And also at noon Eastern, high noon Eastern, for our friends and colleagues, Pablo and Bomani, because many of you are torn. Many of you who have been with us for a long time know that we love Pablo and Bomani around here, and they've been a part of the things that we do. And in 40 minutes, they start their own show on ESPN. It's going to be daily. Give it time, man. You guys like to make snap judgments, but give it time, because I'm telling you that's going to be the smartest daily program that ESPN has ever had. And they're going to figure it out. There are too many great people working around that show. They're the best people ESPN has, all of them. And that show is going to be a monster. And at noon, we're just going to go to the opening of it. At noon Eastern, high noon, because many of you are torn. You're like, how am I going to do both of these things?
Right.
At high noon, you won't have to. At high noon, we are going to give you the first words that they speak on their show, and we're just going to stay with them for as long as we can. We're just going to simulcast their show because those guys are the future, man. Those two guys are really good at this, and the producers that they have are really good at this, and that show deserves a chance to succeed. Because a lot of bleep happened around here that nuked the 6 o'clock Sports Center. A lot of things that went all the way to the White House. But this show ain't that. This show is outside of the bubble, and we want to celebrate that success with them. And they're going to be nervous. Good Lord. You remember how nervous we were the first day we did this?
Yes, very nervous. You were particularly nervous.
You better than me.
Yes.
And so, but we're going to get a glimpse. I have no idea. That
ended after a day, by the way. But yes, for a day, I was better than you.
I mean, Stugotz has consistently been less nervous than me on big openings. That's been a consistent theme throughout our entire time together, is that Stugotz has more confidence the first day than I do, and then it all falls apart after that.
Yep. I can't imagine. Bomani, he doesn't come off as a guy who's nervous. Pablo, I could see being a nervous wreck. Bomani is uber confident.
You've got that, but this is, yes, you're right about that. I don't doubt that the show's going to be great. Don't doubt it. It will be great. It's hard to be great your first 10 minutes of doing something new. That's hard for anybody. But yeah, Bomani could. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that if Bomani had replaced Jon Stewart, he'd be doing a better job than the person who's there. That guy could do anything with his confidence about being good at this stuff. And he's better at this stuff than you could learn from him. You can learn from Bomani Jones and Pablo. That's the next evolution of this, right? You folks who have been with us for a while, and we've been doing this 15 years, once upon a time, there was a classroom element to this, where there was advanced metrics. We were learning things together. Stugotz was the dopey meathead sports fan who didn't, pay attention to any of the places where he could learn. It was all about coaching and leadership. It wasn't about anything.
I didn't learn a thing.
And so that is the next evolution. That Bomani and Pablo can teach us things because, they're smarter than all of us. I know many of you don't think that, but
at least you're not building up the show.
It starts at high noon. They're going to be there, and I know those two dudes.
Setting a low bar.
I know who they're working with. And it's going to be great. I have zero doubt about that. And so at noon Eastern, our friends start their new venture, and we're going to try to get to as close to it as we can to share it with them. I thought the best piece of sports analysis we got last week, speaking of the way that you learn things around here, Ethan Strauss is an exceptional basketball writer, and Ethan Strauss knows the nuances of the game. He's very smart. And he explained to us that what happened in the Houston Golden State series is that Golden State, over a series with adjustments, they treat it like a prize fight. It's not, we got to beat you in the first game. It's, you're going to be exhausted by the sixth one. And right. You saw the difference between LeBron game 1 and game 2, just all of it. Never mind the body language stuff. Never mind whether you think he checked out. You saw in the way they were playing him that he was gassed. And how could he not be? And that's the most indestructible, indefatigable force in the history of the game. He plays every game. He's got more miles on his body over this career lifespan than anyone has ever had playing this much time.
Still played 44 minutes.
No, but over the course of the series, I believe Golden State will smother even him. Man, oh man. Can you imagine, Stugotz? What do you do when Steph is stopping 30 feet out and just making it?
There's nothing you can do. There were so many times last night, and this is what that team does to you, where Cleveland was getting close, right? They hit a big shot, and they were getting close, and then Steph or Clay or one of those guys would come back and hit a three that just hurt, and you could see it on LeBron's face. They hurt,
yes,
man.
Okay, but I would say to you, as it relates to playing against that team, yes, you're never going to win when Clay and Steph have good games. You're always going to lose. Because if they're having good games, it means they're making their threes. And if Clay and Steph have the good game, you lose, period. Right. But on top of that, and this is what I'm going to say that has to be exasperating for an exhausted LeBron James. On top of that, and if they want to sit it out, Kevin Durant will just back down J.R. Smith and he'll make that 8-foot jumper in your face, and they'll just take a rest while he's going it 2 at a time. And it's and LeBron has to be all of those guys. He has to be all of them. He can't do that. He tried to do it in game 1. How did it work out for him? He tried.
He almost pulled it off.
He almost pulled it off. But asking him to do that 4 times in 7 games against that team, man, that's a big ask. You know what I mean, though? You're sitting there, you're playing Clay and Steph, and they're killing you because your heart sinks when they make 30-footers. But in the abs, Steph scored it. Woohoo! We guarded Steph. Yeah. Oh, there's Kevin Durant backing down George Hill for a little 5-foot baby jumper. Or worse still, there's JaVale McGee dunking, and there's Sean Livingston killing us with baby jumpers. I wouldn't have blamed LeBron if he had just gone to the sideline and started punching Steve Kerr right in the face.
They guarded Steph?
Oh. Sean Livingston would be an all-star in the 50s, would he not?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Al Roker next.
Dan Le Batard.
You want to make something smart really dumb? I give you Stugotz.
Stugotz.
You love sandwiches, huh?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Texter writes, and I'm torn. On one hand, I like Pablo and Bomani too, but on the other, you claim this show will be great, but you also think Desus and Mero are funny. Well, here's the best part. They've got all Desus and Mero's producers. So if you don't like that, you're going to like this even less.
Oh.
Because they have they just took Desus and Mero's producers. That show at high noon has their production staff, and it's going to be great. Speaking of great, Al Roker, people like him. People find him.
I'd say people love him.
People love him. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was offensive. I blasphemed. And we've talked to him before, and we love talking to him. And Stugotz just told you, new book, Ruthless Tide, is available now. But, Al, I've got so many questions for you because you've got so many interests outside of just weather. Like, I didn't learn until recently, and thank you for joining us, that you love game shows, that you're a giant game show guy.
I do. I mean, one of my all-time favorite game shows, Family Feud, and I actually a few years ago got to host Celebrity Family Feud on NBC. It was like a dream come true. Survey says,
what would you, if I gave you your choice of jobs in the world, though, because you didn't you start as a cartoonist? Like, what would be the one job?
I didn't start. I mean, I wanted to be. I was an amateur cartoonist. I wanted to be an animator. I don't know. I think. I mean, look, I'm pretty happy with what I've got now. I mean, I never thought that I would be doing all this, and the reason why I guess I would stick with the job I've got now is that it lets me do all these other things. I mean, the fact of the matter is, nobody would care whether I wrote a book or not if I wasn't Al Roker on the Today Show.
Well, what is the thing like that has come your way? Excuse me for interrupting you. What is the thing that has come your way, the perk like that, where you've been like, man, this is unbelievably cool that I get to parlay my knowledge of weather into this?
Well, sometimes there's this intersection of your interests. And again, as I mentioned, being a cartoon fan, comic strip fan, I got to interview Charles Schulz twice. The creator of Peanuts, once for the 50th anniversary of Peanuts, and then, sadly, he was, suffering from colon cancer and asked if I would do his last interview. And, it was just a tremendous honor. I mean, I got to meet Rosa Parks, for God's sake. I mean, the things I've gotten to do because of this gig, really are all like bucket list kind of things.
Why would Charles Schulz want you to do his very last interview while he's dying?
Well, I don't know. We kind of had this connection when we met for the 50th anniversary. I mean, I just was a huge fan of his work, and we both were. I think we're both, in a sense, entertainers, if you will, but both extremely shy. We just, I guess I kind of spoke his language.
Hold on a second. Al Roker with us. New book, Ruthless Tide, available now. Extremely shy, Al.
Yeah, I know I am. Anybody, if you know me, my friend, look, I love going out and talking to the people in the plaza and all that. But like all the big, like Hollywood parties, things like that, I don't really go to, or if I do, it's because my wife wants me to. And I just, kind of like keep looking at my watch. Can we go now? Is it okay? A lot of times it's like, I got to leave because I got to get up early tomorrow. And my wife stays at the party and I go home. Because I'm very nervous. I'm very shy.
You still get up at 3:00 in the morning? Is that something that you still do?
3:30.
That's life altering in a way that can't be healthy, right? What time do you go to sleep at night?
About 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending. If it's a good day, I get to bed by 9:30. But usually it's something comes up, one of the kids or something like that. It's 10 o'clock.
Again,
I'm trying to get more sleep.
Al Roker's got a book out. He's promoting it. Ruthless Tide. It is available now.
Al, no naps? Because I see Al Roker as a big nap guy, like just power naps, right?
No, I don't nap.
What?
I do not nap. Can't nap because two things. One, it throws off my sleep schedule. Then I have trouble going to sleep at night. But two, I find it takes me as long, if not longer, to kind of wake up and snap out of the nap than the nap itself. So I find it almost defeating.
The party issue that you have, the extreme shyness, does it have anything to do, and I've read about you've lost like 150 pounds, but still sort of see yourself as a fat guy for some reason. Does that have anything to do with the shyness?
No, I don't think I'm very good with conversation. A lot of these parties you go to, at least here, or you go to cover some award ceremony, all these people are big stars, and it's like, what am I doing here? I'm from Queens. I'm a kid from Queens. Why am I here? I enjoy it. I mean, I like going to it. I like doing the red carpet stuff. When they say, would you like to come into the Vanity Fair party? Well, I know I should, but I'm kind of like, Okay, hi, how are you? I'm Al Roker. Nice to meet you. You don't know who I am, so.
Do you? You gotta have more of your cousin Lenny Kravitz in you, more rock star in you. Do you have any relationship with Lenny? Like, how does that?
Well, we're second cousins, and whenever I see him, he's extremely friendly. He's a very nice man, but I don't get to see him that much. But at least close enough that my kids can claim some semblance of coolness. Because Lenny Kravitz is related to their father.
Lenny, these are two very different family members, right? Like you and Lenny Kravitz, those are two very different.
Completely different. Which of these is not like the other?
All right. The kids always want to see Uncle Lenny,
and I have no body piercings.
How does that? That's unfortunate. I imagined you with many. How were you as kids? Like, did you and Lenny hang out?
Really? Do you really?
Yeah. All the time, Al. It's uncomfortable. I hate that I do that. I hate that I do it, but I do it all the time.
By the way, I must tell you, I know of your show, but I'd never heard it. I mean, you guys are kind of legends in radio. And I was at the Sky Club, the Delta Sky Club, about a month ago, and it was on the TV in the bar area. And I was watching, and I'm thinking, this is like. It looks like SpongeBob, which I love SpongeBob. And I thought, this is great. It's a radio show that Squidward could be running board on.
Well, that's the cartoonist in you. My brother does all the art around here, so that's probably what lured your attention visually. It
is very impressive.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Can you
on your staff, who would be Mr. Krabs?
Forgive me, I don't know SpongeBob. Like, I know what he looks like, but I don't know the characters in SpongeBob.
You don't know the SpongeBob show?
I'm sorry.
Do you not have children?
I'm sorry, I do not have children. Al, why are you yelling at me? I don't understand what I did to you.
Because I can't understand this. Who doesn't know SpongeBob?
It's a fair
Who doesn't know the folklore of SpongeBob?
I'm sorry, I don't. Who is Mr. Krabs? Who is this Krabs?
I'm on it, Dan. I've got Krabs.
Who is it? All right. Al, thank you for being on with us.
Mr. Krabs runs the Krusty Krab.
We appreciate you being on with us. Come on with us again tomorrow. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Wait, I got more questions for you.
We do plenty. Right.
Okay, more questions.
All right, we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
This show ain't free. Time for some ads.
What are you guys laughing about back there? Did I make it awkward? What happened? Why are you guys laughing at us?
I just love whenever you do that to a guest because they never seem like they actually want to come back on tomorrow. Sure, talk to you tomorroh.
I think Al does. Is Allison? What's going on over there?
We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
I have more questions for Al.
So do I. I mean, that's shocking. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did you know that Al Roker was family with Lenny Kravitz? Did you know that?
Called me a legend.
I mean, I think we needed to end on the Krabs joke. Like, that's the place to end that segment. I have crabs with no context. Put it in the club.
This is your bedroom. This is your bedroom with Blue Chew. Blue Chew uses the same active ingredients as in Viagra or Cialis, but now comes in chewable form. Chewable means better, cheaper, and works faster than pills. No in-person doctor visit, no waiting in line, no more awkwardness. 100% online at BlueChew.com, where your first order is free. Just pay $5 shipping. Use promo code DAN at BlueChew.com and restart the party.
Dan Le Batard.
Never going to stop. I am what I am, man. I'm 44 years old. I ain't changing.
Stugotz.
Why change now? It's worked. Here I am. Sitting next to you. Filthy rich.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Allison, what is your degree of confidence in whether or not we're going to be able to get Michael Ruffin and Pat Sajak today? You're the best in the business. Nobody gets the guests faster and better than you do. How confident are you that before 1 p.m. we will get either or both of those people?
I would say let's go 35% on Ruffin, and I'd say 75 on Pat Sajak.
Well, I just heard back from Pat Sajak. Go ahead and make that at 0%. He passed.
Okay. She had it at 75?
All right.
Dream big.
Hold on a second. I'm going to have to call him during the break and yell at him. He's probably scarred and running from the controversy. Be a man. Come on, Sajak.
He did give his best, though.
Wow. I don't want his best. I want his best on air.
It's a tough time for Pat.
I did say that you asked, which I thought would help our chances, too. But
should I just call him on air? Should I just call him right now?
No.
I don't think it'll help matters, really. Considering he just declined.
All right. Don't do that.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Hold on a second.
This nice little thing going with Sajak.
I'm going to call him.
No, don't do
Sure,
that.
you guys don't think I should do it on air? Maybe it'll be maximum
No, you
embarrassing
certainly should
for
not
me.
do it on air.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you'd only hear me. You'd only hear my portion
your only
of it.
part, okay. Well, if you feel like it.
How about I FaceTime him?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah, whatever. There's no telling you no, huh?
I mean, you FaceTime him, and then, I don't know, how's that work? Is he on speaker if you're FaceTiming? I usually have the speakerphone, and then all of a sudden you're hearing Pat Sajak.
Well, I guess there is telling him no. It's the whole listening part.
Yeah, you tell me no plenty. Michael Ruffin. I love that happened that quickly. 35% on Mike Ruffin. I'm more confident on Sajak. Sajak declined, 0%.
Well, that means a no on Ruffin then, right?
I don't know. I don't know how to do any of this math.
You can't blame Allison. She thought Pat Sajak liked the show.
Yeah, so did I. I thought Pat Sajak liked me. Mm-hmm. This would be a safe space for him as he addresses this terrible controversy. Why is he passing? Is he busy? Did he say why?
He said, well, that was part of the excuse. It's been a crazy busy week. And he also mentioned that he's going away for a little bit, too. So,
wow, it's that bad, huh?
What, Guillermo?
I mean, he's 71. Like, it's not like, at that age, I'm not going to be up and around talking to people at hockey games. I'm not going to be doing anything. If I make it to 71, it'll be a miracle, to be honest with you. I'm thinking like 60s, mid-60s if I'm lucky.
Right.
I'm going to get something. I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to get something.
That's terrible, man.
Billy's always doing this. For some reason, he thinks he's going to go in like his mid-50s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not healthy. I don't eat healthy. I don't do anything healthy. Like, if I get to 71, I'm going to be really happy. But I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to be doing at 71. Standing in the middle of a hockey rink announcing players. That's not going to happen. Right. I'm not going to be walking around.
Yes, you are.
Would you sign up for 71 right now? Like, would you sign up for that? If I told you won't live a day longer than 71, would you take it right now?
If I wouldn't live a day longer than 71,
you'll
would
have perfect health to the day you're 71, and then you'll just fall, you'll die in your sleep.
So I'll die happily? I won't suffer at all?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. Why wouldn't I take that?
I mean, because it's young.
No, I'm not going to get there. You know how cold it is that it's 71? I mean, if I'm Pat Sajak right after I get that ice, cup of soup, he was only wearing like a thin-looking sweater. That's crazy. I didn't see his footwear, but I'm sure he wasn't wearing the proper footwear to be walking around on ice. I bet he was on a carpet or whatever, but still. It's cold in hockey. Have you been to a hockey game, Dan? It's cold in there.
Yes, I've been to hockey games.
Also, I know he's bi-coastal, but 4 years ago I saw you supporting the LA Kings. Pick a side.
All right, wait a minute.
How does he fly from coast to coast like that?
It's a great point by Mike. It seems like whatever team is in any championship round, Pat Sajak is a fan of that team.
Right,
You're right, Mike.
I'm calling him right now.
That's true.
To hell with it.
Kings, Capitals.
I would roll the dice. I'm not going 71.
He looks great at 71.
I'm not taking 71.
71's way too young.
No.
What do you guys think you're going to live to?
Well, I'd sign up for like 80 right now.
Yeah, mid-80s.
85.
Mid-80s.
Yeah,
I was hoping to move to Okinawa.
Oh, yeah, they live till they're 100 there.
I don't want to live to 100. What kind of quality of life is that?
Seems fine. There's plenty of 100-year-olds that have great qualities of life.
As long as you're around other 100-year-old people, I think you're all right. Okinawa seems to be the place to go. The retirement home. People over 100.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. I am FaceTiming him right now. Put it on the poll, though, Guillermo. He's not answering. Put it on the poll. Would you take... I'm going to put it. Would you take 71 right now?
I think it was the Okinawa one that you were trying to.
But if I take 71 right now, and I die at 71, right? But I don't suffer at any point. You'd rather live to like 80, but suffering the last 5 years of your life?
I'm not attaching any guarantees. You can live past 71.
No, you
might
said I just lived 71 and that's it, done. No suffering.
Well, I guarantee you 71, but I'm saying if you live past 71, you might live till you're 85 and just die in your sleep. There's no, I'm not saying you're going to get, some like cancer or something like that, Bill.
Should I keep calling him? Keep FaceTiming him?
How do you think he's processing that?
I don't know. I don't really care
He's
right now.
minutes removed from saying no formally.
I know.
And now he's got 3 missed FaceTimes from you.
What are we doing with this Pablo and Bo segment next? Let's just go. Let's just break format and Pablo and Bo, let's just let them start. We'll pick it up without any context.
Break format, like no Sports Center or anything like that?
Well, we'll figure it out, but we're going to go live to the debut of Pablo and Bo's show next. I'm sure we'll do it seamless.
Stugotz here. Did you know that every single episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is now on Spotify? Yes, the same app that has millions of songs now also has thousands of podcasts. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite shows and discover new ones. Just not too many. We get jealous very easily. To subscribe to our show, search for the Dan Le Batard Show, tap follow, and get every new episode delivered to you. Podcast on Spotify. They are streaming right now. And 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 now.
Dad doesn't want another boring tie this Father's Day. With SpiritedGifts.com, you can ship a gift directly to Dad and engrave his favorite bottle of whiskey, tequila, or bourbon with a special message just from you. Win that coveted favorite kid spot when you send the gift he really wants with free shipping at SpiritedGifts.com/Dan.
Dan Le Batard.
Texter writes in, does ESPN brass listen to this show? They can't.
Stugotz.
How could this possibly continue in a prime spot for this long? It's just truly awful radio.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We'll break into programming here as soon as this show starts with, there it is.
Oh.
Fake Odell Beckham. Whole Odell Beckham Steez. His clothes, Steez is Odell Beckham. His hair was exactly Odell Beckham, except he was like 10 years older than Odell Beckham. I tried to take a picture of him, and I was trying to be slick. He looked at the camera like, yeah, you taking a picture of Odell Beckham. He's so fake Odell Beckham that a woman walked up to him in his face and said...
And said it to him.
And I quote, look at this fake Odell Beckham.
Oh, no.
And he was like, yeah, what's up? He was real cool about it. Because that's what you got to be when you fully commit to fake Odell Beckham.
That's a pretty good fake person to be at a club in New York.
Yeah, but
right?
it don't take long before they realize you are not Odell Beckham.
Good point.
Yeah. Apparently, Steph Curry doesn't appreciate anyone else being called MVP in his house. Ooh. Though my 81-year-old father via text nominated J.R. Smith for Dummy of the Year, being named Game 1 MVP by fans at Oracle Arena was an adequate substitute. But Steph looked like a real MVP, like the 2016 Steph, going for 33, 7, and 8 with a finals record 9 threes. As a team, the Warriors couldn't miss. A reminder that the Cavs don't guard so much and that the Warriors are at their best when Steph is in control. So let's get started with this. When the Cavs have to face this Steph Curry, they got no chance. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not. And the knock on Oracle from my friends in the Bay is that Oracle doesn't really get down like it used to. You know, like every night, Bomani Jones, I don't know if you know this, every night used to be Filipino Heritage Night in the Bay Area. But, man, these billionaires love it when Steph Curry grabs the aux cord. And they love to dance to that. Man, no one loves Steph Curry like super rich dudes, and Oracle loves Steph Curry because he went and did in the fourth quarter last night what we've seen him do pretty historically in the third.
Yeah, but the thing with Steph, and they've been lighting up poor George Hill. Like George Hill, right. Well, George Hill got off on that free throw because JR did the whole JR thing. But one thing, if we watch George Hill's career, George Hill's eyes get like this, like big times. You can see it all over him, even when he's playing well like he was in this game. They've been killing him defensively. He has been the weakest defender the Cavs have had. And when he gets caught on Steph Curry, they are just lighting him on fire. Once that happens, man, this is so open for everybody else. Like, I don't know, other than maybe like LeBron. Yes, LeBron gets guys shots. He gets the ball where they need him. Steph gets dudes so wide open just because you have to guard him from the parking lot.
I was texting with Brandon Payne, Steph's trainer, who I really only text when something really bad is happening, like his ankles are falling apart, or when something good is happening, like last night. And he used a word that I think is a pejorative for many other shooters, which is Steph is a rhythm shooter, right? Steph is a rhythm shooter, but his rhythm is unlike any others. Brandon used the term patiently aggressive. Right? Steph has this weird thing where when he gets going, he is unstoppable, but it needs to get him there first, right? He needs to get into that flow with his footwork and the spacing that you mentioned. But when he's there, there is no one like him in the history of the human race.
Well, also, the thing with him with 9 for 17 from 3 that is interesting is that Steph feels kind of held back by the Steve Kerr offense. He would like to shoot more. If you're going to let him put up 17 to get to the point of making 9, oh boy, this thing gets spooky. And then Steph then continues to trick all these children into believing that they can be that good.
You too can be a 6'3" son of a pro athlete.
Steph Curry, everything about Steph Curry looks like you can do this at home. You cannot do this at home. Like, he is so particularly and uniquely good at things that we all feel like we should be capable of doing. But it's almost like golf at this point. I mean, why can't I make this putt? It's just right there.
And you know what's interesting also is Kevin Durant watching a guy like Steph Curry on the night that KD is the most efficient KD and realizing, these billionaires still don't love me like that.
And you might work best as number 2 in these parts.
That is also fair. But I understand that every MVP debate is designed to self-destruct. I understand this because I did high school debate.
I kind of did.
And high school debate taught me at least two things. One, puberty is hard. And two, if two people can't agree on the basic definition of a word like valuable, the ensuing argument will be pointless. But I am not here to argue anymore, Bomani. I am here to offer a warning. If LeBron James is not the most valuable player in the NBA Finals, words are meaningless. LeBron is showing us that he is most valuable under any conceivable definition of the term. And he should win the award even if the Cavs get swept.
Even if he gets
swept.
To come out the box, taking it just a little bit too far.
That's the take America should come to expect.
The first part I totally related to is I did high school debate and all of that stuff, and I roll with your idea of valuable because LeBron, the argument of terms, all of that stuff. But you're not the MVP if you get swept. You're just not the MVP if you get swept. Now, you can get some theoretical argument. It's like the swing vote theory, right? Your vote only matters if it tips this whole thing over, right? He's the best player there is. This is a very Wilt Chamberlain sort of argument if we get down to the bottom of it, because you look at so much of what he does, and you cannot take away from the greatness of it. However, I've been brainwashed just like everybody else into the sports definition of valuable. And what is your value if you lose? It is not your fault that you lost. It's just hard to make you the MVP. But not to the point of like 2015 Andre Iguodala Finals MVP or Kawhi Leonard Finals MVP that year.
But what if LeBron James has games like he had in Game 1 where it's 51-8-8 and they lose, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem, is that LeBron James, I feel like we have an opportunity here to do something that everybody in sports talks about, but no one ever has an actionable plan to execute, which is, how do we actually punish the Warriors for stacking the deck like they have? And to me, the only way to do it is by seizing on this award, which is, by the way, voted on by how many people? 11 people? 11 of our peers? I'm going for these swing votes, man. This is achievable. Like, LeBron James, you could argue, right? You mentioned when Iguodala won it. Iguodala won it because he held LeBron to like 35 plus and a triple-double, right? And Kevin Durant won it last year while LeBron James became the first person in NBA Finals history to actually average a straight-up triple-double. He is proving that he deserves this award based on the merits right now.
I get you. It's just hard to make that argument after Steph Curry probably had a better game yesterday. Whole thing, that's a tricky little
Jerry West.
Yes, tricky little jingle board you put together there, and I snatched that thing. So the Cavs are down 2-0, which isn't terribly surprising. But being competitive 7 of the 8 quarters played in Oakland, having a real chance to win Game 1, and not falling apart after JR's Nick Anderson moment, hey, man, it could have gone way worse. Yeah, moral victory is a minor league, but look on the court. Look in the box score. Look out for your favorite fledgling television show. I'm serious. These first 2 games should be encouraging for Cleveland. The Cavs absolutely can win this series. I do think they can, and it goes back to what I've been talking about for a while now with the Warriors, Pablo. After a while, these things get wobbly. These runs get wobbly. They're the same team. It's kind of how your favorite artist could put out a bad album, right? They're still the same person they happen to be, but these things get a little bit shaky. Did the Warriors really look that great in these games to make you feel like this is on the way to a sweep? I don't feel like that at all.
We are so reactionary as sports fans, as sports consumers, and I know that because at least I am reactionary, because it does feel like we totally forgot what just happened in the Western Conference Finals. This team got pushed to 7 by a team that no one thought should have done as much to them. And we also just forgot kind of what happened in Game 1 of the series, where LeBron James made this all very complicated. So if the argument at bottom that you are making is LeBron has played the Warriors, the Cavs, I should say, have played the Warriors 3 times, and the Cavs have won 1 of them after being down 2-0, I don't think we should write off the Cavs based on that evidence alone.
Well, also, let's evaluate what Game 2 was. Like, if you wanted to make a very simple sort of thing that happened there, the Warriors made everything. The Cavs made nothing, right? And that game was competitive going into the end of the third quarter.
It was.
It was a 10-point game, but the part, I guess, that's encouraging for you if you're Cleveland, the Warriors have been obliterating people in the third quarters. It's almost become cliche to talk about it, but you looked at it when in the second quarter and the Cavs are getting that down to about 5, and then the lead stretched out even further, and you're like, oh, well, the third quarter's coming up next. The Cavs managed to weather that third quarter. They've weathered a lot of things that other teams have gotten knocked out by. Let's see how Game 3 goes.
It is disheartening, though, when JaVale McGee is 6 for 6 from the field and scores 12 points.
But I think they were like a 0 plus minus for the time.
Yeah, right. The net effect, but still, the emotional effect was profoundly negative for the Cavs. But the most compelling video from these last 2 days, it wasn't even aired on the TV broadcast. There is one specific clip I saw while semi-consciously scrolling through NBA Twitter on my couch after midnight. And I don't know if you've seen it out there in America already, but I don't really care. Because Game 2 was cool and all, but this here is a rare window onto LeBron James after JR'd more than JR ever JR'd in Game 1. So Howie, please, can we roll this video that I want to present to the people? Okay. This is how it starts, and here is the huddle. LeBron James is inquiring the timeout situation. Ty Lue is informing him they had a timeout, and that is LeBron James reckoning with his existence. Yo.
Dude, the thing about it is, if you watch that whole clip, JR hits the bench. Nobody's talking to JR. And to be fair, nobody's talking to anybody.
No.
Everyone is just, what is there to say? Because nobody wants to hear that's all right. Because it's not all right. It is the opposite of all right. So you got James Posey over there behind the bench, David Jones. None of those guys, they're not saying a single word. And then at the end of it, James Posey's like, all right, man, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because you realize, oh, wow, there is more of the game. How the hell did this just happen?
The new character in this play is Ty Lue, because there have been whispers around the Cavs all year about how much LeBron did or didn't love Ty Lue. And Bo, I have a question for you. Does this look like this man loves Ty Lue?
Here's the thing, though. I don't blame anybody for not calling a timeout. LeBron was in a position to call a timeout. It looked like he may have tried. But why I don't blame anybody for not calling a timeout? How long would it take you to realize under any circumstance that J.R. Smith wasn't thinking about shooting? When is the time ever before this that you saw J.R. Smith and he wasn't thinking about shooting? J.R.'s got the ball and he's open. Your assumption is that he is going to shoot. Just all of it, though, with LeBron, just like this. So we actually, are you serious? Oh, man. As terrible as this was, it's one of the most boneheaded plays it's ever been. We're all here for the jokes. Like, I feel like the beauty of social media in 2018 is that we have taken these things that the sports media otherwise.
How long should we go with this, Mike? When should we get out of this?
10 minutes ago. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Marriage at some point, I think for a lot of people, they get down to, and this is really a sad part about marriage, where you're just having sex one day a week. And that one day a week is Sunday. And so I love Sundays, but I hate everything I have to do leading up till Sunday, which is essentially agree with everything my wife says and does everything she asks me to do. And I'm only doing that for the Sundays. Because if I don't do it, there ain't no Sundays. And I can't live without my Sundays.
Stugotz.
I wonder if Abby hates Sundays.
Oh, she despises them.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
They're still talking?
Oh, they just stopped talking.
The first segment.
That was, wow. How do you talk that long without taking a break?
Wait, I just want to be clear. They went 18 minutes?
Straight.
No commercials?
No commercials.
Did anyone breathe?
I counted maybe two. Two breaths.
It's gonna have more words per minute than any show in the history.
It looks so clean. Did they shoot that in 70 millimeter? Was Tarantino behind the camera?
Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm super tired.
Well, no, that's what made you tired, right? It's not them two talking. It's the music chasing you.
The music did build tension.
Non-stop. Nothing's happening. They're not going to get to 71 that way.
Seamless transitions. I didn't even know they switched topics, and they were on 3 different topics.
Yeah, I like that, but I also noticed 18 minutes into their new show and no discussion about LeBron and Jordan. I'll have to have a talk with the guys.
Which is to a
I'll talk to him. I'll take care of that one.
Which speaks to a larger concern Billy had, and which he said at one point, who's winning?
Yeah, I don't know who's winning. Did you hear a bell? There's a bell. I don't know what that means. There's no points on the screen. Yes. How am I supposed to know who's winning these arguments, Dan?
Also, I thought we told Pablo that was a terrible jacket.
Oh, yeah, we did.
When he wore it down here.
We sure did.
Pablo got his Kenny Smith on. He got up and went to the board and
I think he was just doing that to show off that his belt matched the jacket.
There's a lot of showing off. Did you see the shot from above their heads, just looking down at their desk for some reason? Yeah. Pablo's on the screen 3 times at one point, saying the same thing. I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy.
What do you mean? They cut it in thirds and Pablo saying the same thing?
They had a shot from behind him, a shot from the side, a shot from the front.
Wow.
It looked like the Brady Bunch intro at one point, but it was all...
You start coughing, Billy?
I'm telling you, I have motion sickness. It looks great, and they said great. It was a great show. I need the seasick things.
The bell is haunting.
The music is super scary.
What's the bell mean?
Because
my pulse is 95 right now.
High noon, so it sounds like an old Western bell.
Oh, but I need to know. I'm with Stugotz, though. I need to know what the bell means. Explain it to me. I can't be...
The bell means move on to the next topic. However, they talk through the bell.
Wait, is it the high noon is why they had that was
that's why it's...
They should have Tumbleweed go by in the background.
They should, because that's why the beat is a little bit westerny, but with a new urban flair.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine if their guests come out on horses. Are they going to have guests, or are they just going to talk to themselves?
I don't think they need guests.
Bomani's suit, though.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks fantastic. He really does.
We were debating as to whether or not they would go cash or formal, and the answer is Bo's going to be beautiful. Yeah. He's just going to wear he's going to be dressed to the nines every time.
You know what's funny about that? All my life, I've wanted our television show to be baseball cap and T-shirt. The highly questionable, and the producers will not allow it. And in this case, the same producer would be fine with everyone dressing down, but Bomani doesn't want to do it because he spent a lot of money on Taylor.
Right.
I've gotten used to the scroll. So, Eric created the scroll and now killed the scroll for this show. There's no scroll. I don't know what's coming up. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's going on.
There was something. There was a scroll there. There was a scroll there.
Can we talk about how fresh that open was, though?
It was great.
Seems as though they've just been sitting at this table the whole morning, and it just joined in mid-conversation, and there was a graphic open around what was going on. It went to widescreen, and I love that the panels are white. Man, that looks so cool.
Big table, though, right? Really big table. Really spread out, right, on that table. It's a big table, big set, right?
Did you see the overhead shot?
I feel like the set might be swallowing Bomani and Pablo a little bit. That's all I'm saying. It's very big. Yeah.
If you looked at the overhead shot, all the desk is in the front. They're not using that desk. In between them, there was about 6 inches of wood. They were almost touching each other in the face when they were going like this. You see how close they were to touching each other? They're very close to each other.
It's actually a very inefficient desk.
It really is.
Who would order a desk like that?
Where do you put your paperweight?
High Noon is going to be on television every day on ESPN from noon to 1 o'clock. What are you laughing about now?
Just we got to dress up the desk. I mean, Billy's right.
Well, this is what I want this show's goal to be. Okay, because we like being anti-establishment from within the establishment. It's a lot of fun. We're a spoof of sports radio. We're a spoof of sports television. We're a spoof of fandom and media hysteria. We already break into programming when Stephen A. Smith gets agitated on First Take.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday night, we're doing something where we're just going to be watching the NBA Finals, and you're going to be able to watch it with us. And we just spent the last 10 minutes watching Bomani and Pablo. What I would like to do is get to the point where we can watch these things and have it be our entire job. Where we're watching, they're paying us to watch other ESPN programming. I want to get to the point where we don't even have to be here. Where our job, the way they pay us, is just to watch other things on ESPN.
Maybe next year for the national championship game, instead of us doing a show, we can watch the Megacast watch the game. So you're watching us watch the Megacast watch the game.
No, I want to get to the point where I am watching ESPN from a yacht in the Mediterranean, and I'm not actually doing any work. Today was a big step toward that, guys.
But are we watching you on the yacht?
I mean, if you want to, shirtless in the hot tub like that Jack Nicholson photo, eating a hoagie shirtless in his boat.
Baby.
Cha-ching! Time for some ads.
I think we should tune in next segment and just watch them again. Let's work toward this. Let's just, because they'll still be talking. Let's just go.
They never stop talking. I mean,
Pablo with his jacket. Is that suede?
He loves that jacket.
He loves the suede jacket. He told me all about it.
He looks like he's going to find an artifact of some sort, but if you're going to do that, why wear suede?
Yeah, he does. He does look like an adventurous archaeologist.
Indiana Jones did not wear suede. He wore the bad leather.
Yeah, you're going into a cave. It's presumably very damp in the cave. There's going to be water dripping down. It'll ruin the suede.
Yeah. Dan Le Batard.
Ooh. Guillermo, sassy.
Stugotz.
You're sexy when you're sassy.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Time now for the funniest thing from the sports weekend.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha, ha, ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Chris Cody, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I saw a video on Twitter of Julio Jones playing kickball, and he's terrible.
No, that's impossible.
Yeah, it was like a slow pitch at him, and he swung and missed.
No, that can't.
Really? Kicked and missed.
That can't be. Well, it's the same. Stugotz, what kind of correction is that?
It's kickball.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at your leisure.
Mike mentioned this earlier, though. It makes me feel better about myself knowing that Julio Jones can be terrible at something like that.
In kickball, do you swing and miss, or do you kick and miss? Put it on the poll. A very important correction Stugotz is making there for no good reason.
Just listen, man. I want I care about the facts and being right, and I care about being right.
Guillermo, what do you got?
Our good friend Skip Bayless yesterday tweeted, quote, "Think about this. Chauncey Billups just said on ABC that LeBron looked a little tired. It's only game 2 of the NBA Finals. I covered Michael Jordan when he was a year older than LeBron is now. Nobody ever thought about MJ being tired. That would have been blasphemous." Fine. Then a couple people started responding to that with pictures of Skip Bayless's article from June 13th, 1998. Table set, but Jordan drops his knife. This will be remembered as the night Michael Jordan was mortal. This was his night, his game, his fourth quarter, and Michael Jordan got tired.
That's great. What you just... I mean, Shia LaBeouf right there applauding in the audience. That was great. If that's not the media, I don't know what is. Roy, what do you have?
Michael Kendricks on the report that he's signing with the Browns. No, it's not accurate. I don't know who the bleep said that. That bleep is bleep. Whoever said that bleep is bleep. That's all I have to say, man. I'm not really talking to anybody about this. Michael Kendricks has reportedly agreed to a deal with the Browns.
Okay. Mike, what do you have? It sounds like we might make a second round around the room here. It sounds like we've got a lot of funny stuff to choose from. Mike, what's the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Before last season, Hugh Jackson promised that they would be better than one win, and if not, he would jump in Lake Erie. Well, he finally made good after the weather got better and jumped into Lake Erie with a bunch of other people. However, when Hugh Jackson jumped into the water, what came out weren't his pants. They were below his butt, revealing to the world his A, yet another L for Hugh Jackson.
I mean, the Browns have been showing Hugh Jackson's all the entire time he's been there. Let's do another round. I'm going to go to second funniest thing from the sports weekend. Stugotz, what is the funniest thing for you from the sports weekend?
The Cubs striking out 24 times and still beating the New York Mets 6-1.
Wait a minute, what?
The Cubs striking out 24 times and still beating the Mets by 6 runs.
Well, that's crazy. So 24 of the 27 outs were strikeouts?
Now, it went extras, but they struck out 24 times, and they still beat the Mets.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes a little more sense.
I didn't want to throw that in.
14 innings? I'm going to go with Mark Jackson's Easter suit. Let's go back around the room again.
Yeah, there's enough here.
Chris Cody, what is the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
J.R. Smith getting MVP chance at the free throw line at Oracle.
They gave him a standing ovation when he was introduced with the starting lineup.
We should have won snake draft order.
That's funny. That's
he always
funny.
gets the best one.
That was pretty good. Billy, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
The second race of the Detroit Grand Prix was delayed Sunday when a GM exec crashed the pace car into the wall.
Was Trey Wingo in that car? Hal Wingo was in that car?
I mean, he's never at work.
He was in the car in front of it. Oh, wow. How fast was Hal Wingo going?
Roy, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Tiger Woods' hair.
Thank you, Roy. Excellent work as always. Mike, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I'm going to go the stare down between Steph Curry and Kendrick Perkins.
That was great.
It's great, yeah.
Kendrick Perkins, the way he was sitting in that seat is how I imagine Stugotz at home when he's eating Cheetos and ice cream with his hand in his underwear.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins just had his feet out. Nobody sits like that. And then his feet get near Steph Curry's feet, and Steph Curry's got bad ankles. And then Kendrick Perkins does the only thing he knows how to do, like a mascot. He stands up and his face can't change. So he's scowling, because that's all he does. What do you have, Stugotz?
The Mets offense, as of yesterday, their NL offensive rankings, 13th in runs scored, 10th in average, 10th in home runs, 11th in OPS.
What happened to them? You said they were good.
They were. It was the beginning of the year. Remember that big? I think it was a 5-0 start. Oh, were they good?
What do you do now that you can't blame it on Matt Harvey?
I can't, but it's an ebb right now, and we all know about the ebbs and flows. A flow is right around the corner, Dan, when you're ebbing.
A UFC fighter, Jared Brooks, he body slammed, and it was a Jose Torres, and did it creatively. Had him picked up and had him over his shoulder and back, and then went backwards to body slam him and knocked himself out.
It's otherwise known as the Canadian Destroyer, Dan. It's a move made popular in the indie circuit by Petey Williams.
There was all sorts of Alan Thicke in there, man.
Why was Alan Thicke? Why was
Alan
the late
Thicke's
Alan
apparently a wrestling fan.
Okay, do you want to?
Anytime I talk
hold
wrestling.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's back away. Let's all back away, and you deliver the third funniest thing from the sports weekend as the fake Alan Thicke, if you don't mind. Alan Thicke, the late Alan Thicke, a friend of the show. He would come on. He would be super cheesy. He would be slathered in cheese. And Mike Ryan, over the years, developed a fake Alan Thicke that makes an appearance every once in a while as an homage to our good friend of the show, Alan Thicke, who we ultimately get blamed for killing. The third favorite, funniest thing from the sports weekend, according to the fake Alan Thicke, is...
UFC fighter Jared Brooks knocked himself out when he was taken to school by Jose Torres, who pulled the Canadian Destroyer out of his bleep.
Yeah, look at him when he does
Yeah, his face droops. He looks a little bit sedated. No funny drinks that you're having? Where are you, fake Alan Thicke? Where are you?
Right now I'm at Casa, Florida, enjoying a lovely daiquiri on this beautiful summer morning. In heaven, by the way. Casa, Florida, in heaven.
Otherwise, you have to say hi to our Bryles for me.
Cha-ching! Time for some ads.
Going to update the polls in a second. What are you laughing about?
His Alan Thicke makes me laugh. But the face he gets, it's like, you know when Caliendo's in here, and it's hard to look at him because he gets like he does a Berman.
Yeah, he looks
like Chris Berman.
Yeah, he looks like Al Pacino. He looks like Robert De Niro. It's weird. Mike does not look like the late Alan Thicke. He just looks like somebody whose face has been sedated by dog tranquilizers. Alan Thicke was very handsome.
It's not tranquilizers, it's a mint julep. And it's delicious.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Don Le Batard.
Did you know that Jose Canseco's finger fell off during a poker game?
We did a good show today, man.
68% of the audience said no. That's all we got today.
Is that all?
Our job is done.
Stugotz.
That's a quality program we put together.
Good job, everyone.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
That video of LeBron on the sidelines is funny for a number of different reasons after J.R. Smith forgot the score. But one of the reasons it's funny is because you can see LeBron James' mouth to Ty Lue. We had timeouts? Did we have timeouts? He was asking a question he knew the answer to. He knows they had timeouts. He wanted Ty Lue to say we had timeouts so that he could then react that way, getting mad at Ty Lue.
Correct.
He was trying to call timeouts. It's timeouts on the scoreboard.
Yes, which is why we know he knew. He tried to call it.
He made Ty Lue say it to him so he could show him his profound disappointment. Made Ty Lue say it out loud. And you get it when he's 51-8-8 and he's frustrated because someone forgot the score and they could have been coming back 1-1.
Yep.
And last night doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't mean anything that Sean Livingston would have been the best player in the 1950s.
I can sort of understand how LeBron is gearing up for this finals. He's like, okay, I'm going to have to be 51-point great 4 times. I have to muster it 4 times. And he mustered it one of those 4 times on game 1.
Yes.
And it got wasted because he can't muster that all the games. It's impossible, which is why their defense was terrible. He doesn't want to muster up the effort to go and close out on a jumper. He just assumes it's going to be made anyways.
Right, that's the frustration. I have to do this 5 times now? My plan was to only do it 4, and game 1 was one of those times.
Well, and it's not just one of those times. I'm going to do it once. And also, listen, guys, I got it real easy. This is all I need from you, okay? I don't need anything else. Just this. Make a free throw and remember the score.
I've got everything else.
Oh, yeah. And remember how many timeouts we have, Ty.
It's just great.
Oh, man.
At Le Batard Show on Twitter, I do believe Sean Livingston, it's such a great point by Stugotz, would have dominated the 1950s.
That's amazing. That guy takes a little baby jumper in the paint, and you know it's going in,
He
right?
would have been Wilt Chamberlain in the 1950s.
I'm not so sure he wouldn't be dominating now if he never got hurt.
He's pretty good.
At Le Batard Show on Twitter, we got a lot of polls today. What do you got, Stugotz?
Do you know what an ebb is? 58% of the audience said no. They do not. Are olives terrible? I hate olives. I can't believe this many people, like 58% of the audience said yes, but I can't believe that 42% think no. I mean, they're awful.
But great things come from olives, including olive oil.
Yeah, I guess. Do you think that Jack White is actually talking to Vault members? Mike is a Jack White Vault member. He was telling us earlier that he thinks, because you're a Vault member, you get special access to Jack White. There's like a, instant messaging back and forth. Mike actually thinks he's talking to Jack White.
Vault member. What does it cost to be a Vault member?
Third Man Record Vault member?
$2. Shut up.
70% of the audience said no, it's not Jack White. Is Steph Curry cocky or humble? 83% of the audience said cocky. Is Stugotz J.R. Smith? 90% of the audience said yes. Are you bothered that the show today started breaking down a Wizards versus Raptors game from 2007? Oh, I love our audience. 71% of the audience said no. Is the lowest point of Kanye West's career Bobby Brown calling him crazy?
I mean, you can't write fiction better than that. You know what kind of special kind of crazy you got to be when Bobby Brown, didn't Bobby Brown say he had sex with a ghost? When Bobby Brown is saying you're crazy?
72% of the audience said yes. After Game 2 of the NBA Finals, should the show be talking about Kanye saying George Bush doesn't care about black people? 72% of the audience said yes. That's what we should be talking about. Is the only good ice cream that makes you pay for it the next day?
Oh, we meant to ask Roker that. Let's ask him that tomorrow. We got to ask him that tomorrow.
52% of the audience said no. Surprised there.
Guillermo, what are you laughing about? Roker's never coming on with us again?
Allison just dismissed him. He's not coming back on tomorrow.
How about Ruffin?
Why? Because Allison's in a slump?
Uh-oh.
What happened?
I mean, that's a touchy subject, man. Let's see who's on tomorrow. Ron McGill.
I'm not using that word. She's using that word. That's not my word.
You don't talk about guest bookers being in a slump.
Yeah, you don't talk about it. You just don't talk about it.
I'll go in there and hug her in a second.
The rules of baseball.
We're all a little bit scared of her.
Well, listen, we got Ron McGill and we got Dave Itzkoff tomorrow.
She just muttered, especially when Dan's the reason.
It's great. Allison therapy couch.
Where was I? Can you name a Ravens wide receiver? 76% of the audience said no. Do you prefer words with your national anthem? 59% of the audience said yes. That's all I'm saying. I told you Carlos Santana was fine. Did a good job. Did a great job. He's a great guitarist, but I need some words there. And 59% of the audience agrees. Would Sean Livingston have been an all-star in the 1950s? 86% of the audience said yes. Did you know that Al Roker is related to Lenny Kravitz? 94% of the audience said no. Would you take 71 right now? Would you sign up for 71 years of life right now? 67% of the audience said yes. A kickball, do you swing and miss or do you kick and miss? Got on me about this one, Dano. 60% of the audience said you kick and miss. How about that? Those are the polls today. By the way, a little bit unfair, Julio Jones. It was not it was an uneven track he was playing on. The ball was hopping all over the place. It took a bad hop right before he went to kick it. You know, that's annoying when you play kickball.
Traditional red kickball, if it bounces on a rock on its way, it totally throws you off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so Julio Jones is not actually terrible at kickball.
Oh, no, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's bad. He's bad.
I like to see him on a flat surface, though.
It's incredibly rewarding to see Julio Jones finally fail at something, too, by the way.
What do you mean? Why?
I use that as positive reinforcement. Yeah. I'm like, yes, he's not. Some people just don't have the world completely by the bleeps.
I mean, but he failed at the Super Bowl.